I'm joined now by Steve Shimshak, partner at Paul Weiss. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
You just had a panel where you were talking about the art and science of consortium, and tell us why that's important, and I know it's busier than ever.
Sure. Well, let me illustrate it with an example. Okay. Imagine you were at an auction and you expected that there were going to be 10 people bidding, but there ended up being 2 bidders and the rest formed a group. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Depends what side you're on, I guess.
Well, instinctively people would think that's not a good thing because you're not going to get the highest price that way. But there are circumstances where it actually is a good thing if those in the group individually could never bid competitively, whether for regulatory reasons, whether for limited resources. And so allowing the group to form and allowing that group to bid actually can have the effect of raising the price for the asset for the benefit of the creditors in a bankruptcy sale. That's exactly what happened in Nortel when you had 2 industry giants, Apple and Google, going up against each other to acquire some patents. And a third bidder, a consortium of other industry players, none of which on their own could have competed with Apple and Google, but with their combined strength were able to both bid for the asset. And in the end, Apple actually joined that consortium against Google, and they won the auction.
So why is there more of this now?
It's a good question. Certain assets are unique. In this case, there were patents that were the underlying asset that was the object of the auction. There are complexities about pre-existing arrangements among people in the industry where they cross-license to each other, and that has the effect of depressing value if you were to acquire a new patent because you automatically have to license it to someone that you have that arrangement with. But if you put it into an entity in which you're co-investing with others, those problems aren't as significant. I think the scale of deals is getting larger, and then when it's accompanied by legal complexities, that leads to the formation of consortiums. Though historically, in the bankruptcy world, there's been a resistance to group bidding because it looks like collusion, where people are getting together to actually keep the price down. But there can be circumstances where it has the opposite effect.
So do you see this then as a trend that's here with us now to stay?
If I could speak of a trend, I think the trend would be that something that was once very doctrinaire, it can't be done, or if it's done, it should only be in rare circumstances, will instead be replaced by greater receptivity by creditors and by companies that are selling their assets, a greater openness to that possibility as long as it ensures rather than defeats a competitive environment. So I think that's what the future portends.
Thank you, Steve.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank you for being here.